We have more on the historic verdict in Michigan, the first parents to be convicted in a mass shooting by their child. Now, a jury found James Crumbley guilty of involuntary manslaughter yesterday after his teenage son killed 4 other high school students at his school. Crumbley's wife, Jennifer, was convicted of the same charges at a separate trial last month. They each face up to 15 years in prison. Oakland County, Michigan prosecutor, that's Karen McDonald, joins us now for her only network TV interview. Good morning to you, Karen McDonald. We're glad to have you here.
Good morning.
You pointed out yesterday that this does not bring the children back, rightly so, but you do say that it holds these particular parents accountable. What do you hope that this verdict sends? What message do you hope this verdict sends?
Well, first and foremost, I think the sigh of relief from the 4 parents in the courtroom of Madison, Justin, Tate, and Hannah was a big deal. And again, this doesn't bring back their children, but it is an opportunity and a moment of accountability. And I think that's important for everyone, for those parents, for the other kids in that school, and then just generally making sure that we all know we have a responsibility to act and use ordinary care, particularly with a deadly weapon and a minor.
You know, Karen, when you take a case like this, one of the things I know lawyers do is they review precedents and other cases that might be similar, but there's really not that much out there that's similar to this case, if anything at all. So I'm curious, what was the moment that you realized, hey, I have a path here and we can make this historic trial happen in the way it did?
You know, what had been done before wasn't really on my mind at all. I think, you know, I experienced this event much like everybody across the country and particularly in the state, and I'm a parent. And the very first question I asked was, where did he get that gun? And how did he get it? And that question led to some really disturbing facts. And to me, it's not whether or not it had been done, it's whether or not there's a criminal charge there and it's violation of the law and it's gross negligence, and it is. I think it's a rare set of facts, but I also think that we don't ask the question enough. We don't. And we owe that to our kids. We owe that to our kids to ask, where did that weapon come from? Instead of just focusing on the shooter.
Karen, as you mentioned, you have been working alongside these families impacted by the shooting for a long time. And these parents, they have to deal with this loss now and also for the rest of their life. And if you can share any parts of your conversations with them about how they look at what happened, but then also the parent of the shooter.
It's been 2.5 years, and the shooter was pled and was sentenced, and that involved a very long sentencing hearing, and then there was the actual sentencing, and then we have the mom's trial and dad's trial, and these people, these moms and dads, and you know, there were also several children injured and hundreds others in that school. We also charged and convicted the shooter of terrorism, and that's the first ever terrorism charge for a school shooting. And that was very important because so many of the hundreds and hundreds of kids are affected by mass shootings, and they don't have a scratch on them, but they will never be the same. And in addition, we had, tragically in Michigan, we had kids who were in the school on November 30th in Oxford that day, and they were also on campus at Michigan State University when there was an active shooting. And that leaves trauma and scars, and we have to name that. So it's a lot of pain, and it's a lot of suffering, and I think we can't really promise anything, except I did promise when I first spoke with those parents, which was the day after their kids were murdered, that I would treat this case as if these were my own kids and how I would want justice for them, and I did that, and my team did. Mark Keast was the lead trial attorney, and we did it. And you know, I mentioned in the press conference last night, we had people in my office lining up to work on this case, and we're public servants, but you know, we were dedicated to these victims, but also the entire Oxford community. Nobody wants these tragic events to happen. You know, nobody wants this.
Nobody.
Yeah, their stories, they are our stories. Karen McDonald, thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Absolutely.